Hello everyone, my name is David Bélanger and I work for the Canadian Centre of Mapping and Earth Observation at NRCan. I'm currently the project manager of the National Elevation Data Strategy. Today I'm going to talk about the work we are doing to implement the high-resolution 3D representation of the country. I will start the presentation with a short overview of the strategy, and I will explain what's new about the strategy after that. The presentation will be done in both languages since we have a translation service. My slides are in English, but I will alternate with some slides in English and some slides in French. Bonjour tout le monde, mon nom est David Bélanger et je travaille pour le Centre canadien de cartographie de l'observation de la Terre à Ressources naturelles Canada. Je suis présentement le gestionnaire de la stratégie nationale de données d'élévation. Aujourd'hui, je vais vous parler du travail que nous faisons actuellement pour l'implantation d'une couverture haute résolution 3D du territoire. Je vais débuter la présentation avec un court aperçu de la stratégie et je vais poursuivre ensuite avec les nouveautés qui sont maintenant incluses dans la stratégie. La présentation se fera dans les deux langues puisque nous avons un service de traduction. Donc, mes diapositives seront en anglais. Par contre, je vais alterner dans ma présentation avec quelques diapositives en français, quelques diapositives en anglais. So let's look at the highlights of the strategy. In fact, to explain why we created this strategy, I like to start on the right side of this slide. A lot of applications now require accurate 3D data to support key priorities. Is the case for flood mapping or for flood simulations modelization, to develop enhanced forest inventories for the productive forests, for climate change monitoring, to detect landslides, and for urban planning as well. It's really why we created in 2015 what we call the National Elevation Data Strategy. It is to provide accurate and authoritative 3D products to support government priorities. In fact, by having these standardized products, it's possible to perform consistent analysis and applications across the country. To create these products, we want to use the most appropriate data sources according to the needs. In addition, to enable the integration of the source data in products, it is necessary to acquire the source data according to certain standards. This slide explains how we implement the strategy. To support the strategy, we have established 4 pillars. The first one is to use appropriate sources based on the needs to increase high-resolution elevation data. It could be from LiDAR or satellite imagery according to the needs. You can see the acquisition plan on your left. We separated, in fact, the country in 2 parts according to the needs. We use the end of the productive forest for the line, for the separation, I mean. This line is approximate, and we will move the line according to the needs. In the southern part of the country, so south of the productive forest line, accurate data such as LiDAR is needed for flood mapping, to create forest inventories, and infrastructure management as well. The capacity to penetrate the vegetation and obtain a representation of the ground under the vegetation is very important for our country. Another advantage of LiDAR is the level of detail and the accuracy of a few centimeters necessary for certain needs, such as flood mapping. For the northern part of the country, we believe that a surface model, a DSM, will satisfy the majority of the needs. We use autocorrelation of satellite images or other source of data to complete the information. These techniques don't provide necessarily the information on the vegetation, and it's a bit less accurate than LiDAR. However, it's less expensive. It is useful to map remote locations such as the Arctic. For sure, it's a general plan, and it's also possible to acquire LiDAR in the north for forest inventories or along infrastructures. And in fact, it's already the case. We collect currently LiDAR in the north. The second pillar is the collaboration, and it's a key factor in the success of the strategy. In fact, several provinces, territories, and municipalities are already involved in LiDAR data acquisition. We are working closely with them, with these organizations, to share, first of all, the existing data, and also to consolidate our efforts in planned acquisitions. The third pillar is the standardization. We contribute to the standardization of LiDAR acquisitions across the country by promoting the Federal Airborne LiDAR Data Acquisition Guideline. We created and we maintain this document. Finally, we improve accessibility of data by always promoting open licensing and establish appropriate management and dissemination systems. We simplify also the usage of the data by generating multi-resolution and derived products. All products are disseminated on the Open Maps website. Je tiens à mentionner que plusieurs de nos activités sont financées par ce qu'on appelle le Emergency Management Strategy, ou en français, la stratégie de sécurité civile pour le Canada, le profil de risque national. Le travail, en fait, est divisé en 3 axes sous cette stratégie, sous ce programme: les données, les activités et la collaboration. Pour ce qui est de notre stratégie nationale de données d'élévation, ce programme supporte actuellement, financièrement, les acquisitions LiDAR, ce que vous voyez à gauche, et la création du guide fédéral sur les acquisitions LiDAR aéroportées. Je vais en parler un peu plus en détail dans les diapositives qui vont suivre. C'est d'ailleurs ce programme qui a supporté les acquisitions LiDAR dans une importante région de la rivière des Outaouais. On sait que les inondations ont fortement affecté ce territoire-là dans les dernières années. Et les modèles de prévision précis constituent quand même un atout essentiel à la gestion des mesures d'urgence. C'est pourquoi on a créé ce projet-là qui couvre 10 000 km². En fait, 6 000 km² ont été réalisés par notre organisation, donc NRCan, ce que vous voyez en vert foncé. Puis le centre, la partie vert pâle, c'est une collaboration entre NRCan, la ville d'Ottawa, la ville de Gatineau et la Commission de la capitale nationale. Le contrat a été géré par la ville d'Ottawa. C'est un bel exemple de collaboration supporté par un programme pour les mesures d'urgence. Through this strategy, we have developed a strong expertise in topographic LiDAR data in the federal government. In fact, the team supports several other departments in the acquisition, processing, and dissemination of LiDAR data. What we do for the federal government. First of all, we coordinate the acquisitions with provinces and territories and also other organizations. In fact, we are in touch with the main organizations, so we can ensure that there is no duplication of LiDAR acquisition. We establish and manage LiDAR contracts. So we have a supply arrangement in place with 18 pre-qualified vendors. We can issue LiDAR acquisition contracts very quickly, in fact, in 15 days. We offer also a LiDAR quality control system based on the guideline. So the data inspection is very important when people acquire LiDAR, and I need to insist on this fact. And we can ensure the quality assurance thanks to our system we have created on our high-performance computing data center. We manage the Federal Airborne LiDAR Data Acquisition Guideline. So as I said previously, we created in 2018 the guideline, the first version of the guideline, and we continue to maintain this guideline, very useful for people who want to acquire LiDAR. We create also and disseminate products. So we have an access to a high-performance computing environment. So we have a process in place to create and disseminate elevation products. And finally, we do research and development to create new products and to extract new information from the elevation data. I will explain in more details what abilities or what capacities we have developed. So what's new? Donc, quelles sont les nouveautés dans le projet? Donc, ce que vous voyez à l'écran présentement, c'est l'état de la situation au Canada. C'est probablement pas parfait. Il manque certainement quelques villes, mais je pense que ça vous donne une bonne vue d'ensemble des données, donc les données haute résolution d'élévation qui sont acquises présentement au pays. Avec les projets en cours, donc juste pour le LiDAR au sud du pays, c'est près d'1 million de kilomètres carrés de données LiDAR qui vont être disponibles d'ici 1 an. Donc, c'est quand même assez important. Cette couverture-là va comprendre 90 des 100 plus grandes villes au Canada. Donc, 90 des 100 plus grandes villes vont être couvertes par des données LiDAR d'ici 1 an. Donc, ce que vous voyez en bleu, c'est l'ensemble de l'Arctique qui est couvert maintenant avec un modèle numérique de surface à 2 mètres de résolution. En fait, en 2019, nous avons intégré le modèle numérique de surface qui avait été généré par le projet HRDEM. Donc, c'est un projet américain. L'objectif de ce projet-là, qui était financé par la National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, était de fournir un modèle numérique de surface à haute résolution pour toutes les régions de l'Arctique de la planète. Donc, ce qu'on a fait avec ces données-là, on a appliqué des corrections, évidemment, et des améliorations pour les rendre standards à nos normes canadiennes. Entre autres, on a modifié le datum vertical pour qu'il soit compatible avec le datum canadien que nous utilisons. Donc, l'Arctique est complété. Ça représente quand même 4,6 millions de kilomètres carrés, donc c'est énorme pour notre pays. C'était une belle réalisation. Les polygones que vous voyez en vert présentement, c'est la couverture LiDAR qui est incluse dans la stratégie nationale de données d'élévation. Donc, c'est maintenant plus de 500 000 km². Donc, 61 des villes des 100 plus grandes villes les plus importantes du pays sont intégrées dans notre stratégie nationale de données d'élévation. Ce que vous voyez en jaune, ce sont les données LiDAR qui sont acquises ou qui sont en train d'être acquises par les provinces sous une licence provinciale. Donc, présentement, on est en communication avec la province de Québec, la Saskatchewan et la Colombie-Britannique pour intégrer aussi ces données-là dans notre stratégie nationale de données d'élévation. On a aussi débuté nos acquisitions 2021, donc la nouvelle saison est déjà arrivée, la nouvelle saison d'acquisition LiDAR est déjà arrivée. On a 2 projets actuellement en cours, un projet dans la région de Last Mountain Lake en Saskatchewan, donc 4200 km² de données LiDAR dans ce coin-là, puis dans la région de Niagara-Hamilton, donc en Ontario, ce que vous voyez à l'écran, donc une région d'environ 3000 km² qui sera couverte par des données LiDAR au cours de l'été. C'est des données aussi qui ont été financées là, par EMS, ce que j'ai mentionné un peu plus tôt dans la présentation. There are currently 2 ways to access the high-resolution elevation data. The first product is the high-resolution digital elevation model. So this is what we call the HRDEM. Essentially, the data includes digital terrain model, digital surface model, and other derived products such as slope maps, hillshade, and Aztec maps. The data is distributed by acquisition projects in GeoTIFF. For the southern part of the country, the data comes from LiDAR, and the data is available at 1 meter resolution. For the northern part, most of the data comes from satellite imagery. In addition to this product, we released in December a new product, a seamless mosaic of HRDEM data. It's really a great product to allow us to visualize on the web the Canadian territory in 3D. Unlike the HRDEM product, which is distributed by acquisition project, the mosaic is created to provide a single and continuous representation of the data. And we use the most up-to-date elevation data to generate the mosaic. The mosaic is available through web map service. So it's available through WMS service and WCS, so web coverage service. I want also to mention that the mosaic is disseminated through the Topographic Data Cube technology we recently implemented, which uses big data management technologies. Both products, so the HRDEM and the HRDEM mosaics, the mosaic, are available freely on Open Maps Canada. We produce 2 releases per year for both of the products. And we try to align both products in every release. Currently, we're working on a new publication, a new release. So in May, it's a scoop today. In May, we will make available 107,000 square kilometers of new data in our current products. So HRDEM and HRDEM mosaic. So this is what you see in the dark green on the image on the slide. So the data is located in Alberta, Saskatchewan, in Manitoba, in Ontario, in Quebec, in Nova Scotia, and in Newfoundland, Labrador. Nous avons publié en 2018 la première version du guide d'orientation fédérale sur les acquisitions de données dans LiDAR aéroporté. Et en décembre 2020, on a publié la version 3 du guide. Ce guide-là fait partie de la série des guides d'orientation fédéraux sur la cartographie des zones inondables. Vous trouverez tous les guides sur le site de la sécurité publique. Vous avez l'hyperlien en bas de la diapositive. Ces guides d'orientation-là sont vraiment faits pour permettre de faire avancer des activités de cartographie des zones d'inondation partout au Canada. Puis, on sait que les acquisitions LiDAR font partie des données essentielles pour créer des cartes d'inondation précises. Donc, c'est pour ça que le guide d'orientation fédérale pour l'acquisition LiDAR se retrouve dans cette série de guides-là qui sont très précieux pour la cartographie des inondations au pays. Le guide est assez facile à suivre. En fait, il suit la séquence d'une nouvelle acquisition LiDAR. Donc, comme vous pouvez voir à l'écran, la planification de projet, la collecte de données, la processing, donc la gestion des données, la validation de données qui est essentielle. Donc, le document explique comment on doit valider la donnée, qu'est-ce qui doit être livré à la fin d'un projet, puis tout ce qui est question de propriété intellectuelle, puis des droits qu'on doit demander lorsqu'on fait une acquisition LiDAR. Les gens utilisent le guide de toutes sortes de manières présentement au pays. D'abord, le guide contient la norme minimale pour les acquisitions à travers le pays. Donc, les gens veulent connaître c'est quoi le niveau minimum à atteindre. Les gens utilisent aussi, et puis c'est ce qu'on fait nous de notre côté, le guide pour développer des énoncés de travaux et des demandes de propositions pour les compagnies. Les gens utilisent le guide aussi pour un langage commun, donc pour communiquer les exigences, pour bien communiquer les exigences pour une acquisition de données LiDAR. Puis les compagnies l'utilisent aussi pour bien comprendre ce que les clients ont besoin lorsqu'ils demandent une acquisition LiDAR. Le guide est beaucoup aussi utilisé pour les méthodes d'assurance qualité, donc pour s'assurer que les données sont validées suite à une acquisition LiDAR. Le document comprend aussi plusieurs annexes pour les besoins plus particuliers, donc pour la foresterie, pour la cartographie des inondations, donc très, très important là, pour notre travail présentement. Une annexe pour lorsqu'on veut faire des acquisitions LiDAR lorsqu'on est en terrain montagneux, en milieu urbain, donc pour être certain d'avoir la bonne densité, par exemple, pour extraire les bâtiments. On vient d'ajouter, je vais en parler dans la diapositive suivante, mais un index sur l'acquisition de données topo-bathymétriques pour supporter les inondations. Puis, il y a un annexe aussi spécifique lorsqu'on demande des contrats. Qu'est-ce qui doit être inclus dans un contrat d'acquisition LiDAR? Donc, comme je viens de dire précédemment, on a publié en décembre la dernière version, donc la version 3 du guide d'orientation pour les acquisitions LiDAR. On a apporté plusieurs améliorations, mais le changement le plus important, c'est l'ajout d'une annexe concernant l'acquisition de LiDAR topo-bathymétrique. Donc, en plus de pouvoir faire des acquisitions de données LiDAR topographiques pour supporter les inondations, il est maintenant possible de faire des acquisitions LiDAR topo-bathymétriques pour supporter les inondations. Donc, on sait que ces deux sources de données-là, donc le LiDAR topographique et Topo Bâti sont des sources complémentaires pour la nouvelle modélisation 2D pour créer des cartes d'inondation. The LiDAR point cloud is a rich source of information that allows us to develop new geospatial capacities. For example, my organization have developed several processes for automatic extraction of geospatial data from LiDAR. For example, we have an automatic process for the extraction of building footprints. In fact, we have already a product available on Open Maps. You have the link on the slide. We have also developed a process for the extraction of hydrographic data, such as water bodies. In addition, we have implemented the process to extract culverts, very useful to create DEMs hydro-compliant. We created also a data cube, which uses big data management technologies to efficiently manage and disseminate geospatial data. This is what we use to disseminate the HRDEM mosaic that I taught previously. In fact, the data cube allows us to store only the DEM and create products and analysis on the fly. Finally, we are working on automatic processes using artificial intelligence to extract data and to classify point clouds automatically from LiDAR. And the results are very promising. Here are the next steps for the project. Regarding new data, we want to increase the coverage of LiDAR with new partnerships and new acquisition contracts. We will add more than 100,000 square kilometers of HRDEM and HRDEM mosaic in May. We will also make available the point clouds we acquired through Open Maps during the year. Regarding the funding and the collaborations, we will continue working with levels of government and coordinate the efforts in LiDAR acquisitions. We will continue to work to find programs and collaborations to increase coverage as needed. Regarding the communication, we publish a newsletter twice a year to inform the community of our activities. So the next one is planned in June. So if you are interested in receiving the newsletter, please just email us. You have the email available on the right side of the slide. Finalement, je tiens à remercier les producteurs de données qui travaillent avec nous, comme les provinces et territoires. La collaboration est un élément clé de la réussite de la stratégie nationale de données d'élévation. Finally, I want to thank the producers who work with us and the organizations that provide the data in the open data. Collaboration is really a key factor in the strategy, in the national elevation strategy. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Hi, David. Hello.
Hello, John.
Hey, thank you for joining us today. It's very exciting to have you with us.
My pleasure.
So that was a great talk, and it's already brought in some questions. So I'm just going to dive into the Q&A.
All right.
The first question is from Cody Brown. I'm going to read it out for everybody. Regarding data source based on needs, your slide with the line breaking up Canada, have there been thoughts about adding northern urban areas like Iqaluit, Yellowknife, Whitehorse to the more high accuracy data?
Yeah, so the question was probably related to the slide showing the strategy. So we created this strategy in 2015. This is an important strategy. And at that point, we weren't sure exactly which area would be covered by LiDAR. So this is why we at that period of time we didn't include these regions. But as I showed more later in the slides, you can see that we have now included some regions in the north, especially in the Yukon and the Northwest Territories. We have now an agreement with Northwest Territories, and we have already started the acquisition of LiDAR this year. So this data should be included in our release next fall.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Great answer. So another question from the participants from Aaron Grass is, are the LiDAR point cloud files available for download?
Hello, Aaron. Nice question. As I explained in my last slide, I think, we have a plan to make available LiDAR point cloud data. We have to work on that. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. What we want to do is to create a download index map and make the index map available on OpenMaps website. So as a result, that we want to point directly on the website to the provinces if the data is already available for download. If not, we want to create some repository to make available the data that we collect at the federal level, but also maybe to propose a solution to the provinces who don't have necessarily the capacity to disseminate the point clouds.
Okay, thank you. We've got a question here from Irene Cheng. What is the reason that BC and Alberta do not have much LiDAR data coverage compared with the other parts of Canada?
Yeah, we have to understand that most of the data is collected by the provinces. So there are two main drivers in our country regarding the LiDAR acquisitions. First of all, is to support the forest industry. So to create the forest inventories and help the forest industry. There are a lot of provinces involved in this type of acquisitions. It's the case of the province of Quebec. It's the case also for the New Brunswick. And there is also flood mapping purpose, which is really important. So it's according to the prioritization to support different drivers. But yeah, the message is that we were working with the provinces to accelerate the data acquisition, and we will see more LiDAR, I'm sure, in the coming years.
Okay, thank you. A question from Paul T. Is the elevation in the Arctic the elevation of the surface of the snow or the elevation of the underlying rock and terrain, or both?
In fact, I'm not a technical person. In fact, we have integrated the data, comes from the project that we call HRDEM. It's an American project, and the project is created from imagery, so world view imagery. And I believe most of the data is collected in the summer. However, it's a patchwork, so it's possible also it's possible that images include also snow. This is why the accuracy is less than LiDAR. For sure, it's around 2 meters, but it's better. It's better than the whole products we have before that we call the CDED. So the accuracy of this product, I know.
I remember that product. I used it many times. Yeah. Yeah.
The accuracy was more than 10 meters. So yeah, it's really an improvement for the country, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. So a question from Jocelyn Sherwood, looks like from Environment and Climate Change Canada. Currently on OpenMaps, it looks like the elevation data is restricted to topographic data. Where or how does Topographic LiDAR fit into the Canadian elevation data strategy?
It's a great question. I can say that there is currently a product available. I think the name is NONA, created from the Fishery and Ocean Department. And to be honest, we are studying currently how we can create a Topographic product to integrate the topographic LiDAR with the bathymetric LiDAR. It's in our plan, but currently we don't have a lot of bathymetric data in the country. Most of the data is collected around the coastline, and it's a responsibility of the Fishery and Ocean Department.
All right, thank you very much. There's a question from Chen. What is the horizontal and vertical datum, respectively? Is it the same for every project in different provinces?
Yeah, nice question. Our federal products, I mean, we use always the new Canadian vertical datum. So it's CGVD 2013. So we have to convert some data from the provinces and municipalities to be according to the new datum. And usually we use the NAD 83 CSRS. This is also a standard in our federal products.
Great, thank you very much. There's a question here from Blair Scriven. Blair asks, where can we find the most recent report on elevation data strategy with all those indices on flood mapping, forestry, etc.? Is it available in PDF?
You can find, we produce a newsletter twice a year. So I think the most updated information about the strategy is in this type of document. And you can find a version on GeoScan and also on GoGeomatics website.
Yeah, we publish it every time it comes out. Yeah, we love it. Okay. Question from Graham Wilson. Are talks underway for collaboration with Ontario further than what is shown?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. Are talks underway?
I think he's asking about further work that might not be indicated in your presentation.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we collaborated. We work, in fact, closely with the province of Ontario. We have we have created a lot of projects together, and I would say that the province of Ontario is really helpful to coordinate the effort of collaboration with different stakeholders. I have to admit that we have a lot of challenges to reach every stakeholders involved in LiDAR acquisitions. So the province of Ontario is a precious help, and it's really a teamwork, I would say, with the province. And we know that it's the elevation data is critical for its province regarding flood mapping, for example. This is why we work with them. We know that they have also different projects ongoing regarding the forest inventory. So we will probably add more polygons or more information on this precious initiative. So we are in touch with the province, and we'll continue to move forward as they move forward in different projects.
Graham had a bit of a follow-up about the Ontario Forest Resource Inventory. Can you touch on that at all? Do you know what he's asking about? Do you work specifically with the provinces on forest inventories, or is it more general?
Yeah, we work closely with the province. We at this phase, we don't have any authorization to publish the data, but we worked last year on a project. They use a single photon technology to create the forest inventories, which is really interesting for us to see the capacity of this new LiDAR technology. And we will be able to talk more about this program in the coming months.
Great. There's a question from Gaffer. Can you tell us more about using AI to extract the data?
Yes, really promising. We have a master student with us at the CCMU, and it's really promising. I saw different results, and we at that point we are able to extract, to classify automatically the LiDAR point cloud. The work is mainly around the capacity create the ability to classify automatically with AI the point clouds. So that at the first step this year, what we want to do is really to create an automatic process to ensure the QA of LiDAR automatically with AI. So this is the first step, and probably we will learn more about the project around AI in our next newsletter. We expect to publish the next newsletter in June. So if you need more information, we will add a paragraph about this specific study.
David, we have 5 or 6 more questions. Do you have time to stick around for another 5 minutes or so to answer some more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
We have a lot of questions, a lot of interest.
Yeah, well, the DEM, right? It's very important to a lot of people. There's a question from Amy. Are smaller local governments able to partner or contribute? Does partnering mean sharing in acquisition costs?
Yeah, it could be. It's really heterogeneous. We have limited funds at this point, I have to admit. But when it's possible, if there is a plan and the plans is well aligned with our strategy, we can discuss and see what we can do together. I like to say that it's really teamwork. So if we can do more for Canadian, we can do more to support priorities. Yes, we are open. We are willing to discuss with everyone.
Great, thank you. There's another question here from Irene. Does NRCan have a plan to work with Google to register the 2 different data modalities, LiDAR and Google Map?
We don't have any plan so far. So I really, no, I don't know.
Okay. I'm just going to close that one. There's, so David, you can read the question. There's a question from Taylor Davis. I'll read the start of it, and hopefully that's a
long question.
Yeah,
okay.
Hopefully,
Hello, Taylor.
Hopefully that's enough. So for us to get at the meat of it. Has the federal guideline been updated with respect to scan angle limitations in heavy terrain?
Unfortunately, I am not necessarily a technical guy. I'm the manager of the project. Maybe Taylor, you can send us. We know Taylor, so don't hesitate to send us your question. We will do our best to answer it.
Okay. Well, we've got a few more questions, but I'm cognizant of the time. We're going into the lunch break. So David, thank you so much, and for taking the time to answer so many questions, great questions from the participants.